All right, well, I got back up here to the boat and I was walking in and I'm looking around and I'm like, half this marina is empty here. There's a lot of empty slips right now. It's prime time cruising season and everyone is out enjoying the good weather and the calm seas, and I'm not one of them. I got a few things to do. I'm also trying to coordinate the installation of my new stern thruster, but I'm not sure that's going to happen this week. I got a few things to do and I gotta go back to Salt Lake. But my plan is to wrap up these few little things that created issues last time out, so that when I come back and get those thrusters all done, I can put to sea and have that worry behind me about crashing back into the dock. So let's see if that pans out, shall we? All right, well, I just got back on the boat, and of course there's always that first little pass I make to have a look and see how the local wildlife have been treating me. Oh! What the heck did that? It's overly bright up here, so I'm holding one of my seat covers up a little bit so that I can not A, roast in the sun, but B, not have the camera freak out. So, I've been having trouble with my onboard camera system that I installed, that Iris system. And I've got my display right up here on the upper helm, which is great, except it doesn't work when I pull out of the dock. So I've been stewing on that in the back of my brain, and I finally brought one of my little cheapo circuit testers with me. Now it's probably going to be too bright here for you to see what's going on. Let's see if, I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but the center light is lit up on this guy when I plug it in. Now I got it plugged into an extension cord so I don't have to lay on my back, because I'm gonna have to lay on my back to get this fixed. But we have an open ground on that circuit, which is kind of what I suspected. I suspected that we have no ground, or we're only grounded to shore power or something, but we have an open ground on this circuit. So if we can fix that, I believe that will fix our problem. Now I've checked a couple of other circuits around the boat just to make sure that everything didn't have an open ground, and indeed everything does not. But this one up here I think was wired potentially after the fact, so it's up here where we've got an outlet outside here with a weatherproof cap on it. And below that, we've got another outlet here that's got a couple of USB ports in it. So I got to believe that was kind of all done after the fact, or after the boat was built, and for some whatever reason, we have an open ground. So gonna see if I can do a fix on that. I've got to chase the cable down and figure out which one it is. It doesn't look like it's what I thought it was. I thought there was a piece of white. I'm calling it Romex, that stuff you put in your house. It's just got 3 conductors in it. But once I started looking back here, it doesn't look that way. It looks like it's actually just the 3 wires that are kind of run through the boat. So I'll do a little tracing and troubleshooting and see if we can't get to the bottom of that. And then if that works, if I can get it fixed, then our camera system should run when we're operational, which will be good, because again, 2 of the things that are most important about that is we'll be able to see out the stern of the boat while we're underway, and the engine room from up here. So if something goes south down there, we'll know about it. So here we go. Don's playing electrician for a minute. All right, well, a man's got to know his limitations, right? I'm kind of pulling the plug on trying to fix this outlet up here on the upper helm that's powering my displays and is shutting off when I disconnect shore power. I'm not sure what's going on, and I'm not 100% sure that my open ground is the actual problem. But I've watched a couple of YouTube videos on which prong is the ground and whatnot, and looked at my wiring to figure out which wire I think is going where, and I'm just not sure I know enough about what's going on. And since this is 110 volts that we're messing with, it makes me uncomfortable working with that stuff. I've never have liked electricity. I understand the concept of it, but I don't like working with it, and I'm just not going to. So I'm going to pull the plug on this little incident now. I'm wrapping up a couple of other projects. I did buy some more bilge paint, and so I pulled the anchor chain all out and I painted the anchor locker a nice fresh coat of bilge paint in there. It's had time to dry, and I've put all that away. And I also did some painting down in the bilge area. I'll finish that up as well. So I'm not getting a ton of projects done, but I am getting a couple done. And I think there comes a time when you just got to refer to the experts. And since I am on the verge of taking this boat into the guys at S3 Maritime, and I kind of have a laundry list of little things I want them to fix, I'm going to have them fix this outlet and get it to where we can use it with us disconnected from shore power, because that's the only thing keeping us from having our cameras working. The cameras still appear to be powered up. They're on a different power source down below. I just plugged both these monitors into this one outlet that's wired up here. So I could theoretically, extend some cabling back around to one of the aft outlets or something that doesn't have this problem. But we'll just fix it right, and I'll have the pros do it so it's done right. So that's where we're going to leave this chunk for right now. So I was doing some stuff here on the boat, and I heard a kind of a big commotion over here at the Marina entrance as a boat was coming around the corner. And normally when everybody's coming in, engines are very low RPM, and they're very steady, and you're kind of disengaging the props, but you don't rev the thing up. Well, this one was revving up a couple times, and I could also hear a little dingy outboard motor revving up. So I came up to see what was going on, and there's a guy that has a Hatteras yacht down here at the end. It's maybe a 55, 60 footer, a pretty good sized boat. And an engine was still running, and a couple of times I saw that engine engage. So they still had at least one running engine, but they, for some reason, either they didn't have them both, and I don't know about steerage. I mean, it was at the end of a rope was the dinghy, and they were trying to tow the thing in with the dinghy. So I just grabbed one of the little cameras and stood up on the back here and watched them for a minute, because I thought, well, if they do crash into another boat, maybe the insurance company's going to want to see what happened or whatever. It didn't look like it was going to be a catastrophic wreck, but the towing the boat with the dinghy at the end of a rope was not working for a couple reasons. First of all, the dinghy, when it would hit the end of the rope, it just go side to side. It didn't really have any positive control over the direction that the big boat was going. And second of all, the guy on the dinghy didn't seem to have a way to actually secure the rope and leave it there. Like, he didn't have a cleat he could tie around, or he didn't know how to tie around it. So he was trying to kind of drive the dinghy and reach around and hold onto that rope, and he kept losing the rope. And that just was not really working very well. And they did start to drift kind of a little bit close to a boat that's side tied on B dock right behind me. So for a minute there, it looked a little sketchy. Finally, the captain kind of told the dinghy operator to stop trying to pull the rope and to push with the dinghy, which was the much more effective way to move that boat around. In fact, what the tow operators do when they're towing a boat in, I've seen them do this a few times, is they tie the towboat right to the side of the boat they're towing, front and back, so that they become one, and that way whatever the towboat does, the big boat does. And that would have probably worked better had they had the ability to do that. I don't know if the dinghy had the wherewithal to tie itself to the big boat that way, but they did have all their fenders out, 2 or 3 guys up on the bow, and I figured out that they were definitely not going to crash into anything, and they were getting reasonably close down to where their dock was. So I shut the camera off. I walked down there. I met the guy who's got his boat in the slip next to him. He was obviously out there also watching to see what was going on, because they, had to come in next to him. So he and I walked out on the end of the finger where they come in, and caught a bow line for him, and kind of walked the boat in and got it tied up. So it all worked out okay in the end. I asked one of the guys up on the bow, I was standing there holding the rope, I said, "What, did you lose steerage, or what happened?" And he said, "Well, we lost an engine, and then we lost electrical power, and we couldn't switch to the other fuel pump, and then there's a bunch of greenhorns on here," is what he said. Now, he used that word, not me, but sounds like they lost an engine and, like lost a fuel pump or something, or electrical power first, and then I don't know what happened, but they were limping the thing in, and I'm sure it was pretty scary for a bit there. It's a big boat, and very expensive looking boat, so I'm sure they didn't want to be banging that thing into anything. But it all wound up okay. Everybody helps out in a situation like that, and there's plenty of hands to help them get in there once we got them up close. We got them tied up without any further incident. So it all worked out okay. It made me feel a little like, I paid back some of the karma points I used up when I had to have help getting docked, and B, it also made me feel like, any of us can have an issue getting our boats back in the marina at any time, and even out on the water out there. So all ended well at the end, but was a little dramatic there for a few minutes.